So as a proud M1 MacBook Air owner for over 5 years, here's actually a few reasons why I think you should pay the extra £600 or dollars to get the new M5 MacBook Pro instead, because if not, I actually think you might regret it in the future. So if you're actually looking at both of the base models of the M5 MacBook Air and the M5 MacBook Pro, you're getting the 13-inch for £1,100, you're getting the 10-core CPU, the 8-core GPU, and you're getting 16 gigabytes of base RAM, and you're also getting 512 gigabytes of storage. And on the M5 MacBook Pro, it's £1,700, which is for the 14-inch screen, for the standard display, the M5 chip, but this one actually has 10-core CPU and 10-core GPU, so 2 more GPU cores, which I don't think is the biggest difference in the world. And you're getting the same 16 gigabytes of RAM, but this time you're actually getting 1 terabyte of storage. And in my opinion, I do actually think that is worth the upgrade, and I do think 16 gigabytes is enough storage to be able to get you through a lot of 4K video editing and that. But I use DaVinci Resolve, for example, and that maxes out at about 15 gigabytes. If you've got Chrome open as well, that can sometimes take 3 to 5 gig. So you're already over that 16 gigabyte of RAM space. And what Apple actually do to keep things fast is it uses swap memory. And swap memory basically uses your SSD to be used as RAM. It does put a little bit of wear and tear on the SSD. And if you do have less SSD, like I have my 256 gigabytes, that can fill up quite quickly and slow things down massively. And obviously on the M5 MacBook Air, like we spoke about earlier, it only comes with, well, I say only, but it comes with 512 gigabytes. Over time, you might actually start regretting not getting the 1 terabyte version. And if you actually did want to upgrade to 1 terabytes to match the M5 MacBook Pro, you're now spending an extra £200, but you do get the same 10-core GPU, 10-core CPU. So if you do end up upgrading to the 1 terabyte version, now that is an extra £400 difference to be able to get the M5 MacBook Pro instead of the Air. Well, here's actually the main reasons now why I think it's still worth buying the M5 MacBook Pro for an extra £400. And the first main reason why I think you should get the MacBook Pro over the MacBook Air is 100% definitely for the ports. Now, the ports on the MacBook Air, all you get is 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, whereas on the M5 MacBook Pro, you actually get 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. You also get a MagSafe port to charge it, so you don't have to use one of the USB-C ports to actually charge your Mac. So in a way, you can see it as you get an extra 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the Pro. You also get an SD card slot as well, so you don't have to use, again, a USB-C dongle adapter, which I absolutely hate. And I've used this and another one on my MacBook Air now for over 5 years because I absolutely have to, because of the lack of ports. And the one reason why I absolutely hate using this is if I want to use external hard drives as well. Using the SD card slots on here, not only is it annoying constantly plugging this in all the time, but it's also the speeds. If you get a slower one like this one and not spend a lot of money on it, the speeds are extremely slow when you do transfer over. Being able to have an SD card slot on the MacBook Pro, it just makes things so much faster when you are transferring your data over as well, because you're utilizing the Thunderbolt 4 ports rather than the slower whatever this uses, because yeah, this one and the one I'm using is just extremely slow. It can take like half an hour to transfer, sometimes like 30-40 gigabytes, whereas if you go from the SD card slot on the MacBook Pro straight onto an external SSD or even the internal SSD, it can take literally a matter of seconds or minutes to transfer gigabytes of data. Not only that though, the MacBook Pro also has a dedicated HDMI slot to be able to connect to monitors and TVs as well, whereas I don't think I'll utilize that massively, because what I do love about my monitor is it comes with a USB-C adapter to be able to plug straight in to my Thunderbolt 4 port on my MacBook Air. That also charges my MacBook as well. However, with the MagSafe charger, obviously if I actually use the MagSafe port and I'm not using one of my Thunderbolt 4 ports to charge the Mac anyway, I could be able to use the MagSafe to be able to charge my MacBook. I might be able to use the HDMI port to connect to my monitor. Then I've got 3 spare Thunderbolt 4 ports on the MacBook Pro, compared to basically nothing now on my MacBook Air. Being able to have these ports is something that I'm telling you, you will regret in a few 2-3 years time potentially. Trust me, it can get so annoying just having 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. But that's not the only reason why I think you should get the MacBook Pro over the Air. The second reason is because it has a fan, whereas the MacBook Airs doesn't have a fan at all. Now, when I actually got my M1 Air, I actually thought that was a massive like pro for the MacBook Air, and it can be in a way, because it means it's completely silent no matter what you're doing. However, after using it, like I said, for 5 years, the reason why it's silent is because it actually downgrades the performance when you are doing heavy 4K video editing, for example, because it doesn't want to overheat. So it lacks on the performance to be able to keep it cool. And again, you're just losing the power of that M5 chip, not as much as if you was on the M5 Pro. The third reason as well is something that I actually didn't realize, and it's actually a pretty big reason, and that is the screen. And there's actually quite a few reasons in itself why the MacBook Pro screen is so much better than the MacBook Air. And the first reason is because the MacBook Air just has a standard backlit LCD screen with max 500 nits of brightness. Now, I think that's fine for like indoor use, and I don't really use this outdoors anyway, so it's not really the biggest deal in the world. But the MacBook Pro actually has a liquid Retina XDR display, which can go up to 1600 nits brightness, and it can create darker black. So the contrast levels and the punchiness of colors are actually a lot nicer on the MacBook Pro versus the MacBook Air. Now, don't get me wrong, the MacBook Air screen is still absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it, and I've used it for years, and I've watched movies on this. I've done 4K video editing on this. The color accuracy is great. So don't get me wrong, this is still a really great screen, but the upgrade on the MacBook Pro is something I didn't realize how big of an upgrade it is, from the brightness, from the actual colors itself. But not only that, obviously as the standard base model, you get 14 inches instead of 13 inches on the MacBook Air as well. So you're getting a slightly bigger screen as well. But not only that, the MacBook Pro has 120 hertz of refresh rate, whereas the MacBook Air only has 60 hertz. Now, I don't think I'll notice that massively in day-to-day use. I think 60 hertz is fine, but it is nice, obviously, if you're going to be spending the extra money or thinking about spending the extra money, that you do get double the refresh rate, and things are just a lot smoother when you are scrolling through like web pages, for example, even video editing. It just makes the whole experience a lot more smoother. You might want to future-proof yourself, not only, like I said, because of having that fan, and you're obviously going to get annoyed at the ports, but obviously as well, that amazing screen on the MacBook Pro. You just might wish that you spent a little bit of extra money now. Now, the fourth reason why I think you should get the MacBook Pro instead of the MacBook Air is that it has a lot better speakers and also a microphone on there as well. So even though I highly recommend, if you are a video editor, to use external speakers like I do, or even headphones when you are video editing, listening to audio and editing audio, the speakers on the MacBook Pro are a lot better than the Air. The Air on this is not the best. They don't go the loudest, and it doesn't sound tinny, but I wouldn't recommend editing any audio on the MacBook Air. But if you do have the MacBook Pro, the speakers I have heard are absolutely really good quality. And a lot of people actually, if you are out and about like traveling, you might be able to get away with editing audio on the MacBook Air Pro speakers, because they actually are really good apparently. Obviously, I've not heard that fully, and I'm not 100% sure on that, but from what I've seen, it is meant to be really good. And the same for the microphone. I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world, because if you're on the odd FaceTime call, I wouldn't say it's a big reason to upgrade, but it is nice that it does have a better microphone than the MacBook Air. So for those upgrades alone, I do think it's 100% worth paying the extra £400 to be able to get the MacBook Pro, because like I said, I do think you might regret it 3-4 years down the line. Even if you don't want to upgrade to 1 terabyte of the SSD and it's an extra £600 like on the base model, I still do think it's worth paying an extra £600 for the MacBook Pro. If you did find this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And maybe actually looking at later down the year with the M6 OLED touchscreen MacBook coming out later this year. Well, you actually might like this video up here. We actually talk about, should you wait for the M6 OLED MacBook Pro later on this year, or should you buy the M5 Pro MacBook now? Because that's something that I'm definitely looking at between the two. And if you're in the same boat as me and not sure which one to get, you might actually like this video. So make sure you go watch that video next.